So
Trevor, I just want to say I'm more 90s and they're more 80s. I feel like I need to say that.
I don't really know like the difference between like the 80s and the 90s. So.
He doesn't know the difference, Nancy.
Well, I'm just saying.
They're kind of like the same.
Yeah. We're all old.
Welcome to Three Little Fishes. We're three sisters who grew up in the Midwest together, but have since spread across the country. I live in Los Angeles.
I'm in Nashville.
And I live in Philadelphia. We are all married with children. We've all had careers, but now we stay at home with our families.
We've all been through ups and downs that come along with life and have always helped each other through, shared stories, and laughed together.
We welcome all of you into our daily conversations and hope you have some fun with us.
So let's jump in.
What's up, fishes? Happy everybody.
Hey, girls.
Hi. I want to just do a quick little check-in and just say, please continue to rate, review, subscribe to our pod, and please invite some of your fishes to join in on the conversation. All right, let's go ahead and jump in. Kathy, I think you wanted to talk about Sean Diddy Combs. Like, you've been following this in the news. What are you thinking about all this?
I find it kind of, I don't know why I'm intrigued by it because I'm disgusted by it, but, you know, he is so famous, right? And just, there are so many charges against him that was this secret, you know, I mean, he's charged with like racketeering, sex trafficking by force, being the ringleader. You know, they were transporting prostitution. I mean, there's just so many things that he's been charged with. And I think, honestly, what's coming out is like, there's a lot of people that knew about all these things happening and nobody said anything. And so I think a lot more people are going to get charged because it's like the secret little ring he had going on, kind of like that Jeffrey Epstein. Like, people were coming to these parties and enjoying themselves, but nobody was speaking up about what was really happening.
Right.
And I don't know. I just find it like unbelievable. But you know, you get people in power and they get money, and you know they think they can do whatever they want.
I agree. I think the whole thing is disgusting. I don't understand why people are so interested in this underbelly of the world. I mean, the excessiveness maybe has some sort of appeal. I don't know. I don't understand it. It will be interesting to see who comes down.
You're right. It's interesting too to be like, just because you have a ton of money doesn't give you a pass to be a horrible human being and ruin people's lives. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was also thinking about you, Kathy, in particular, because have you been keeping up with Dancing with the Stars? And that what's her name? DeVry. I can't even say her name right. What's her name? Anna
Sorokin.
Anna Sorokin. She was the first to get booted from Dancing with the Stars. And if you remember, she was the one that just was a liar and cheated people out of money and saying that she was just this heiress, but she was just a big con artist. And she said, she was interviewed after when she got kicked off, and they were asking her questions about her experience. She's like, I learned nothing from the show. She couldn't be gracious at all. Like, she was just, I'm like, good riddance. Like, America, I guess, has spoken to be like, we don't want to watch you.
I don't understand why Dancing in the Stars in the first place put this con artist on. Like, what was the thought process there? Why are we giving her, you know, a platform to get more notoriety? I don't understand that. So, and that she was so quippy and ungrateful and unthankful just speaks to what kind of a human she is. And everybody should just stop talking to her because she's terrible.
Yeah, I don't get it
She's a terrible
either.
person. She hasn't grown at all. Like, you know, she hasn't learned anything. She hasn't grown. She is, you know, in complete contrast to like someone like Ina Garten, who is a chef, and she just came out with a book that talked about her very brutal and very isolated childhood and how, this is somebody who has grown from that and has evolved and has become like this gracious, generous, lovely person. I'm actually a big fan. I think she's amazing.
Me too.
But anyway, hearing about just the brutal, like very isolated upbringing she had and how she is just this seemingly generous celebrity chef speaks volumes. So there's a complete contrast between these two people. And I think that Anna woman needs to go find a job at Starbucks or something.
And I totally agree. And I want to get Ina's book. What is it called? Be ready when luck happens. So I'm all for it. We think we should all go get her book. So something that's happening here by me where I live in Calabasas is the Kardashians are known to live in Calabasas, and Kourtney Kardashian married Travis Barker, and their whole thing has been like over the top PDA. They just can't keep their hands off each other. It's ridiculous. And so their neighbors are upset because they put up these gigantic skeletons in their front yard and in their neighborhood. And one of the skeletons is on top of the other skeleton, being very suggestive. And their neighbors want them to take it down and are in an uproar.
So the skeletons are getting busy?
Yeah, they are suggesting that the skeletons are getting busy, and people are like, I don't want to explain to my 5-year-old what the skeleton is doing.
That is inappropriate.
Why is what I want to know. So they're big inflatable skeletons. I mean, I guess it's their property, so they can do what they want, but it seems like, why would they be like that? Don't they have little kids too?
Yes.
Yeah.
They have little kids. Yes.
Why are we normalizing this weirdness? It's just because they want to be talked about. That's what they want. Yeah. They always want to be talked about, and then we're talking about them.
Yeah.
Like, I'm over these people.
Like, what about the PDA too? I mean, is that just to get people's attention? I mean, that just seems crazy.
I don't know. Like, I think it's amazing. You found your person. You're super happy. I feel like that's totally fine. But I don't think that, personally, I do not need to see you guys sticking your tongues down each other's throats and groping each other. To me, there's a time and a place for it. And I don't feel like you need to do that in public. But I mean, I'm not trying to be too judgy, but I also feel like, are you pushing it too far? I don't know.
Well, there is like impropriety. I mean, you're not allowed to urinate in public places out there, right? Like, why? Because it's gross. Nobody wants to see you pull whatever out to go to the bathroom. Like, you can get a ticket for doing that. Why is it okay to stick your tongue down somebody's throat or grope them out in public? Like, is one worse than the other? I mean, it's personal. I don't know. Like, how much personalness do we need out there all the time? I don't know.
I'm gonna shift gears. I'm gonna just also quickly give you guys an update that Riley had homecoming this past weekend. I think he had a great time. I will just say that I did not get to meet his date, which I was surprised. So if you remember, I shared with you, he did a homecoming proposal. He was super excited. She said yes. Yeah. He was looking forward to it. Like, I know that his friends knew he did this, and I heard from parents like how sweet that Riley did this. And so it was news that he did this. Right. So I'm like, Riley, so what's the plan? You know, I've been asking for weeks, like, what's the plan? How can we help? Like, where are there going to be pictures? Because back when we grew up, that's what we did. We went and had pictures. The parents got to see, and then we went to the dance. Right. So he's like, I don't know. He's like, well, Mom, I think that she's going to get ready with her girlfriends, and I'm just going to meet her there because her mom and dad don't want her to go in a group with boys. Like, they just said that we could all just meet at the dance. So Riley ended up going with guy friends, and he did meet her at the dance, and sounds like he spent the evening with her, and he sent me pictures. So I got a picture of Riley and his date, but I didn't get to be a part of taking that picture. And I thought it was interesting. Is this a generational thing? Because back in my day, we would get to go with our date to the school dance and we would get to do pictures. But this seemed to be different. And he wasn't bothered by it at all. And I had gotten flowers to be like, do you want to take her flowers? He's like, no. He's like, I think if I were going with her, I would take her flowers, but I don't think you get flowers if we don't actually physically go together. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. So what are your thoughts on this? Is this a generational thing? Is this a Gen Z thing? I don't know.
I think her parents are like a little controlling and helicoptery.
Well, I can remember a couple years ago, my senior now, when he was a freshman, he went to homecoming and asked it was a big deal to ask her. And around here, we do get together. We usually get together at someone's house and they invite the whole class to take pictures. So it's quite the do. And we usually give the girls a posy and the boys a little boutonniere. So we did all of that. And then later that night, after the dance was over, Trevor asked us to come pick him up because he wanted us to take him to the after party. And we're like, okay. So we brought our big car because we were like, we wanted to have room for his date as well. Yeah. And when we got to pick him up, she was not there. And we're like, where is she not coming? And he said, yeah, I'm going to go to my friend's party and she's going to her friend's party. And we were like, oh. So I just thought that is interesting because I never did that growing up. I mean, when I went to a dance with somebody, we started the night together and we ended the night together. It wasn't like, oh, see ya. Thanks a lot.
Strange.
I mean, for us, for me, I always went in a group. I mean, we were always with the group. So yeah, it was just interesting. I guess everybody does it a little different. I
think it might be a generational thing.
How does Jack do it, Linda?
We always do pictures, prom and homecoming. We always do pictures and they stick together throughout the whole night. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's a Southern thing, but they go to the party together. They get home together. I don't know. I think that's really bizarre. And I feel like maybe her parents are younger. You know what I mean? I feel like there's a generational, millennial thing that the parents are super involved. And I'm just an older parent, so I don't.
You don't care? You're like, go and do what you want. Peace out.
I mean, it's not so much that. I mean, I ask what you're doing. I kind of ask the time frame, but I'm also, I kind of let them sort of do their own thing. I don't know.
So I have to also tell you, my youngest now is a sophomore in high school. And last year he was asked to homecoming by a girl. And then this year he said, no, I think I'm going to go by myself with the boys. Well, over the weekend, there was a girl who actually asked him to go to homecoming.
Kirsten, ooh la la. So it's interesting. You're all having a little bit different experiences, and you're even having different experiences within your own house, Kathy.
Yeah.
But the good news is everybody's getting out and about. I think, for a while when the internet came out and everybody was sort of locked in on their computer or their phone or whatever, I think all the adults in the world were like, what's going to happen to these kids? They never look up from their phones. They're going to be socially awkward. It's going to be weird. But I think humanity is kind of peeking its head out and we are recognizing we'd like to be with each other and it's important. And I personally find high school to be super relevant in that you should practice dating before you get to college and before you become an early 20-year-old. You got to work through the discomfort of asking somebody out and picking them up and going to dinner and going to a party and doing all the things because it is awkward and uncomfortable.
I think some are better than others. And that's where I think this Gen Z group, there are some kids that just don't want to make that effort.
Yeah.
Even in our own household, my kids are different about that. And I think, with COVID and everything, just being not with people for a long time, I think affected at least one of my children.
I think that, Linda, you're right. We know that we're better when we're able to be with people and be present with people. Like it's a balance, right? Of like having technology is great, but also if it's too much technology, then you want that dopamine hit, right? There's like all
Yeah,
these studies
for
that are
sure.
starting to be done that it's like this dopamine hit. And for some brains, they can't, that's all they want. That's all they're looking for. And they can't stop looking at their phone to the detriment that they can't do anything else. So they're suggesting that, some of these Gen Zers and then the next generation, what is the next generation? Like
Alpha. Your
the
youngest
alpha.
is an alpha.
My youngest is an alpha of like
Mhm.
how we need to maybe start looking at that as how young is too young to have a smartphone or this technology and have access to the internet and all these different apps. I mean, I think it's a tricky situation.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think that, the thing is, I think this whole new thing it's unavoidable because even school, elementary school, middle school, it's all computer based now. Like they don't sit and look at books that much anymore. Everything is computer based. So I just think there's no way to get around it. The social media aspect, having some guardrails up somehow. I know there's lots of apps that parents can use to put up the guardrails. I mean, Kathy and I probably had those kids that really were the experiment. Like my oldest is 21 now. I mean, when she was in middle school, I remember the kids just got camera phones and the iPhones, and they were
Yeah.
just were sophisticated. And they were trying to figure it out, and inappropriate stuff got exchanged and passed around, and it was like a really painful learning curve. But I feel
Yeah.
like even just the 18-year-old 3 years later, he gets it more, and I'm sure your younger kids sort of get it more too. Like they know the dangers. It's not foolproof, and they still make bad choices because their frontal lobes aren't developed. But I mean, it's here to stay, and we just have to figure out how to manage it because it's not going away.
I
You
mean, I
know?
think that's what some of this research is showing. But like interesting that you said about the textbooks because I just read this article in the Atlantic and what was it called? The elite college students who can't read books. So this professor is saying that these kids are coming to college and they can't read a textbook. You used to have to read a textbook within a week. And he's like, they can't do it. He's just like, and he was asking these students, what was your prep work like before you got to college? And just as you were saying, Linda, like things were online, they're reading just excerpts of things. And
Mhm.
even kids aren't bored anymore. So they used to like read books for joy and for fun to entertain
Right.
themselves. And now they're finding that kids are not picking up books and they're not reading novels just to find the joy.
Yeah,
So it's this technology is amazing, but it also, trying
Yeah.
to find the balance, I think is really what we're saying is tricky.
it
Like
is tricky.
and
Right.
some of the technology is amazing. Like I've mentioned before, I'm severely dyslexic. And so when I went to college, doing papers on the computer were that's what we did. And then when we got spell check and grammar check, it was life changing for me to be able to write and have spell check and grammar check. And now they have like AI that
Mhm.
people are using. I don't know, are people getting in trouble for using AI? Are they
I
getting too
think that
much
you
help?
can get in trouble for that, for
Oh
sure.
yeah, I mean, there's huge consequence to it's basically plagiarism. So
Right.
and there are technologies out there that sort of detect it that the teachers are using. But I think, for me, like I very rarely pick up a book, but I read my Kindle.
But I think the takeaway of that is you're reading, right? So you're not just like
Yeah.
looking at like your favorite app or
I do watch a lot of reels though, too, I will say.
Yeah.
I am very guilty of that. Like a half hour can fly by in a
yeah.
heartbeat. Like I'll watch something because, like, I think whatever it is that AI that sort of populates your feed for whatever
Yeah.
it is that you open, I watch a lot of funny cat videos.
I think it's kind of creepy when they're like oh, you were looking at this. You should look at these 5 things now. It's like,
Yes.
what? It kind
Right.
of it takes me back a little bit. Like,
I
what?
know.
This is getting to be a little too personal.
Right.
Yeah.
And I actually am one of those people, and I think I've talked about this before, but I love to online shop, and I have carts full of things, like all these different stores. I don't hit the buy button, but I populate my cart in different stores with things because I love to online shop, but I don't buy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'll get an email. We noticed your cart is calling. Your cart is going to expire. And it like,
Right.
you feel the pressure. I don't feel the pressure, but it's like it constantly cues you up. So technology it's amazing, but it is kind of crazy too. I just hope that as a world, we still continue to fight it a little bit and interact with each other and be creative. Because I think for me, what I notice about myself is I am dumber than I used to be. I used to be more creative than I am. And it's because I can look stuff up on the
Look
computer
that up.
so easily,
Yeah.
and I don't have to sit and like sketch it out or think about it or craft it out. I can just look it up.
That's interesting that you say that. So you feel dumber, but
Yeah,
how do you
for sure.
think, like for our kids, for Gen Z, like, does that put extra pressure on the kids to do better and to get into better school? Because do you think technology is supposed to be easier and it gives you all this more access? So it sets the bar even higher than when it was when we were their age?
I mean, definitely can get a lot more done in a short amount of time. So what I really do notice, I don't know if it puts more pressure on the kids because they don't know any different. Like they didn't evolve through this. Like Gen Z grew up with the internet basically, and Gen Alpha is a completely different ballgame. Like they grew up with the smart technology. They didn't see it evolve. So I think they don't know that any different. But I mean, what I do notice though is like this generation, Gen Z in particular, Gen Alpha's still little, but Gen Z, they're changing the face of the workplace. Like they don't want to work 9 to 5 anymore. They feel they can get stuff done in 4 or 5 hours and that's it. And they want to be compensated for that. They want their quality of life is way more important to them. They're not like grinders like we were. And the generation before us, the baby boomers ground it out. And,
Right.
We're Gen Xers, all of us, and we ground it out too because we didn't have a choice. So I just think it is sort of a different, I don't know, it's the workplace is changing, the way we do research is changing, creativity is changing, and we have to figure out how to like make sense of it.
Well, I think with COVID too, everybody got used to being at home, and then that also relaxed the workplace.
Yeah.
So now even people going back to work, there's like no, I mean, in a lot of places, no more suits. It's more casual dress.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people still want to have the option to work a couple days at home and have to go a couple days in. I mean, that might stay with us forever. I don't even know.
I think it is. I think it's here forever.
The interesting thing too about COVID, at least for like where we live, is they had to do school online, which I think a lot of people had to do. But you had to turn in papers, you had deadlines by midnight. And I feel like when COVID went away and we went back to school, in-person school, the online piece hasn't gone away. Like here, Riley will come home on a Friday night and he'll have something due that he has to get sent in by 8 or 10 o'clock at night, Friday night.
Why?
Which I really struggle with because before COVID, that wouldn't have happened. When you left school on Friday, you were done. And whatever you're going to turn in had to be turned in on Monday. So I feel like in some ways, technology does a disservice.
Right.
Because
it's so available.
On.
Yeah.
Because it's so available. You always have to be on. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting thing. So when I talk about pressure with kids, like, do they feel that? Like, you're constantly having to think about stuff. Like, Riley's constantly checking his running list of things he has to do on the computer. I find it to be a lot.
Well, I think what I notice with my kids, because they're all Gen Z kids, is they have fatigue. Like, it's not physical fatigue, it's more mental fatigue because they are kind of always plugged in. So there is a mental fatigue there that I think is associated with all this technology. And the Gen Alpha, I mean, maybe they will never experience that fatigue because they're so adapted to it.
I wanted to say something about the technology too that, we didn't have. So a couple weeks ago, my youngest on Instagram, his account got hacked. And he was trying to deal with it by himself. And he ended up, I think, paying the person that held his account hostage because he just thought it would get it back, which obviously it did not. But we had to step in and kind of figure out what to do. But that's scary. Like that, I know that bothered him greatly, and it bothered us as well as a family. And then we had to talk more about, like, you have to watch out for these predators online because they're around. You have to be careful. So you just never know. We didn't know that was happening to him, and he was in his bedroom right down the hall from us.
Right.
So,
and although I'm sure you've talked about safety before, it still happened. It still happened, right? Because he's young and his brain isn't fully developed. And these people, as you say, are predators, and they're really good at getting these kids to make a mistake.
Well, I think, Gen Z is just the amazing group of young people, and they have the world by the tail. They just have to make sure they stay the course and, fight the fight. And to me, the fight is like, get out in nature, unplug every once in a while, try to be creative, try to do some things away from all the technology, because there is an element of health that can't be attached to technology all the time, which is ironic as we're sitting here talking on a podcast. But, I think it is so important to
put down your phones.
Put down your phones, everybody.
But you're listening. You're not necessarily watching something, and you are like trying to connect with like what's going out in the world. So I think that is a little bit different. And I do think we have to be honest that with technology and with all these apps and things, there's an increase in depression. There's an increase in anxiety, and we have
for sure.
We have to be mindful of how they're all connected and trying to figure out like everything in life that there's a balance. So we're going to do something a little different and fun is that you guys have invited your sons on and we're going to ask them just a few questions Gen Z related.
Today we are joined by my youngest child, Jack. He's a senior in high school. Doing all the senior things. And we thought it would be fun to kind of talk to him about Gen Z and what it's like to be, an 18-year-old in the world today. And so one of the things we thought would be fun would be to bring back some of, like, I'm an 80s kid. I went to high school and college in the 80s. And I thought it would be fun to ask Jack some of these sayings that we used to say, and then what he thinks they mean, and then what is like what you would say in replace of it today. Okay, what does it mean to Ralph?
I don't know.
Okay, so back in the day, Ralph meant, you threw up. Like you went to a party and you had too much and you Ralphed. Now, what would that be today? Do you guys ever say stuff like that?
Pull trig.
Pull trig gives me chills. What is something's gnarly? What would gnarly mean to you?
Oh, like cool or sick.
Yeah. So that's what you would say. It's like something's cool or sick. Okay, I got you. What about veg out? Did you guys ever say that?
No idea what that means. Veg out?
Yeah.
No idea.
Okay, so it means to just like lay around. Like you just like...
Oh, just like chill.
Chill. That's right. Yep.
Okay, eat my shorts.
Like telling someone to F off.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you got that right away. Oh my gosh, that's funny.
You know what term I really like that you guys use is drip.
Drip? Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
What's drip mean, Jack?
Like, you have a good outfit on, like you look drippy.
It's
Yeah.
a good fit.
It's a good fit.
I thought that was called fit.
No, like fit is just like what you're wearing. Like this is what I'm like. This is my fit today, and it's like drip is like if it's like cool or not.
Okay, Jack, I'm going to give you a hypothetical. You are going on a canoe trip and you have been out in the woods. You're in a lake and you are in a canoe and you are taking a picture and your phone falls in the lake. Down, you cannot recover it. There's no diving for it. It's gone. And you are making your way back to Nashville, and for some reason, you cannot get your phone replaced in time. So you're without your phone for 3 days. How would not having your phone affect you for 3 days?
Well, I think it would just be like I couldn't talk to my friends, and I would use my mom's phone probably. Like I wouldn't like talk to my friends or like figure out what time hockey is or like anything like that because my coach will like tell us when to be at hockey or like all like So I don't know. I just feel like it would be a lot harder to like get stuff done, especially like applying to college and stuff. Like maybe I'll have like a college meeting and I don't even know because I don't have my phone. So it's just like everything that I need was like on my phone. So it would be really hard for me to like get stuff done.
What about phone numbers? Like, would you be able to even like reach out to your friend or your coach?
No, I mean I know my mom's, but that's about it.
I feel you. I feel like I don't know my numbers either. Kathy, do you know numbers?
I mean, I know a couple from like our home number in Peoria. I will never forget.
I know that one too still.
I know Grandma and Grandpa's phone number too. So those are a few numbers which is saying a lot because of my dyslexic brain. I forget everything.
So I have a question, Jack, for you. I am
right.
interested in what you guys think about dating. Do you use social media to find dates?
I don't know. I usually meet the person in person and then like add them and just like talk to them on Snapchat and then like plan hang out with them that way. But it's not really like I find them through social media.
Right.
You guys could have called them, so it's like basically the same thing. I still talk to them all the time. I feel like we just talk like a lot more often on Snapchat than like y'all would when you called. But like we hang out a lot too. It's not like it's just like when we can't hang out, we just talk on Snapchat. But like we hang out a lot too. I hang out.
What's your favorite app? Snapchat? Is that your favorite?
Yeah.
The one you could not live without?
Yeah, only because literally everyone I talk to is on there. Like literally everybody. So I mean, yeah, I think Snapchat's probably my favorite only because like that's just like it's just what I see what everyone's doing and stuff like that. So
what are you super excited about? What is something that you are over the moon excited about? Or is there something?
I don't know. I'm kind of excited to go to the beach with my friends.
Yeah.
I think that'll be really fun.
Going to the beach. I like it.
Yeah.
So here in Nashville, everybody goes to the panhandle of Florida because it's a 6-hour drive. So it's super easy. Everybody goes to the beach. So when people say they're going to the beach, they're going to the panhandle. Here.
That's nice. Well, it's their fall break. Have a good time.
All right, I will.
Be safe.
I will.
Thanks for joining us, Jack.
Of course.
Yeah,
it was
thank
fun.
you, Jack.
Thanks for having me.
So we're here with my son, Trevor, who is a senior in high school.
Yay. Hey, Trev.
So welcome, Trevor.
Hi, I'm excited to be on.
So I'm going to do what I did with Jack, your cousin, and give you a couple of phrases that we used to say back in the 80s. And you tell me if you know what it means. And then like, what's your current, saying that kind of matches it. So
Trevor, I just want to say I'm more 90s and they're more 80s. I feel like I need to say that.
I don't really know like the difference between like the 80s and the 90s. So.
He doesn't know the difference, Nancy.
Well, I'm just saying.
They're kind of like the same.
Yeah. We're all old.
Okay. So what does gag me with a spoon mean, you think?
I got zero clue. That's like a weird one.
Your mom used to say that all the time. She'd be like, gag me.
It just means it's like gross or disgusting.
I wouldn't say that.
You wouldn't say that.
Like it's just like nasty or icky.
Icky, ick,
Yeah.
the icks, right?
Yeah.
That's what you
Yeah.
say, the icks.
Yeah.
Okay, what does hella, like the
Oh, yeah.
hella?
It's like you got like a lot. Like you got like a lot of something.
Yeah.
I got hella
Yeah.
money.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys use that phrase? Is it coming back? Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Old is new again. Okay, so what about, have you heard, where's the beef?
No.
No?
What do you?
I mean, like beef for us is like if you have like if you're like mad, like if you have like you're like mad at someone, like you have like beef with them,
Yeah.
Now this is
like you're like against each other.
Yeah. Right. You're fighting. You have beef with each other. I've heard Jack say that. Yeah. So this was like an old commercial, which you probably don't even know. I mean, you don't watch commercials ever, but Wendy's came out with this like little old lady that she came out. She'd be like, "Where's the beef?" And she would make fun of other hamburger places. And she would be like, it was an ad for Wendy's.
I think Arby's has something like that now. Arby's is like it's like
Oh, yeah, we're meats, right?
yeah,
We have the meats.
yeah,
Is that what they say?
we have the meat. We have the meat.
Okay, what about, this one is, what about Ralph?
What is that?
Ralph. Like they threw up. Like they went to a party and they Ralphed.
Oh. No,
What do you guys think?
we say like yak or like
Yeah.
you're yakking.
Yeah.
But yakking doesn't mean talking, right? Isn't that also another term for talking? For yakking?
That's yapping.
Oh.
Like yapping is like you talk way too much.
Oh.
Like oh
Talkie.
this guy's a yap. He talks too much.
that'd be you, Nancy.
Oh, come on.
Might be a yap at Nancy.
Oh. Trevor, I have a hypothetical for you, okay?
Okay.
So you're up in Canada and your phone falls in the lake. You are heading back to Philadelphia, but for some reason you can't replace your phone, your iPhone, for like 3 days. How would that impact your life?
Yeah, it would impact my like life and stuff. Like I wouldn't like be able to like to call anyone. Like I'd have to like ask people like to borrow their phones and stuff and like call my mom or something for like a plane ticket and everything and like a ride and stuff. It'd be like hard to like get stuff like set up because like everything's like online now.
Do you know anyone's phone number?
I know yours and Dad's a little bit. I forget Dad's sometimes. But
How do you keep all like your assignments and stuff like that organized? Do you have like a paper or something, or do you keep it on your phone?
my school uses a thing on like our computers called Canvas, and that like
That's what we use.
that has like a calendar on like what my assignments are due and stuff. But I don't have like a personal calendar. It's kind of just like
Okay.
I just like try to remember.
It's all in your head. You
Yeah.
keep it all up there.
Yeah, exactly.
Trevor,
Now,
do you have a favorite app you love?
Probably Snapchat or Instagram. Snapchat because I like talk to like my friends and stuff. It's Instagram so you, like see what people are doing and stuff.
I'm interested in like you dating and how social media has influenced like your interaction with the girls. You think it's helped? You think it's made it harder, easier?
Yeah, I think it made it a lot easier and stuff, and I think it's helpful because like I can just like text like girls if they like want to hang out. Like I don't have to like
Call
I
them.
don't have to like be with them in person and be like, oh, you want to hang out and like do something. It's like I can just like do it whenever.
Yeah.
So do you think it's more casual this way, more serious this way, just more fun? Like what is it?
I'd say it's more casual now because it's like it can be like less awkward because you can like ask people like to do stuff in like secret and like other people wouldn't know that you would like be telling others in person because like other people would, like, could like see you talking to people and then online it's like no one could really know because you can just text them.
I never thought about that. Yeah.
I didn't either.
That's sort of interesting.
I was telling Trevor, like, when we were in high school, like our dresses were big and poofy, right? Like
They were. Yeah.
I remember my prom dress my senior year was like a huge pink and white, like Cinderella type big skirt. And like these girls here, I can speak about Pennsylvania because I've seen several homecomings and dances, but the dresses are very short and tight.
Yes. So here in the South, for homecoming, it's a short dress, but for prom, it's a long dress.
Oh,
That's the difference.
I'd say
And the
it's
short dresses are short and tight.
Riley just went to homecoming and his date dress was short. I mean, no judgment, but it was short.
Yeah. They all wear short ones.
some of these dresses that were like, I'm like, whoa.
Is there anything that you are super excited about heading in, like finishing high school or heading out of high school?
I'm excited for the hockey and lacrosse season. I think that's going to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Especially playing with like my friends for the last time.
Yeah.
And that's probably like the main one.
All right, Trevor, any more questions for us? Anything you want to add? Anything you think we should know?
No, I think that's it.
Thanks for joining us.
Well, it was so nice for you to join us.
Yeah, I'm glad to be on here.
The Gen Zers are cool.
Yeah, they are.
Thanks for coming. All right, you all, that was so fun. I'm so happy that Jack and Trevor were able to join us today and give us a little perspective on their what they see being Gen Zers. So thanks for having them join.
It. Thanks,
Super
boys.
fun. Thank you, guys.
All right, you all. What's for dinner?
So here in Philadelphia, the Phillies are playing this evening. So I decided we're going to have Philly cheesesteaks. I think we're actually going to have chicken tonight.
Philly chicken?
Yeah.
Is that
Philly chicken sandwiches.
Chicken. Yes. Well, Phillies could be either chicken or beef. They can be either.
Okay.
So let me ask you this. Would that stand up in court? Would people say that that's a true Philly cheesesteak? Just asking.
Well, all the restaurants around here, you can get it either way. I mean, I'm not a native here, so I can't answer that. But as far as I see it in all these restaurants, they come both. But probably the most traditional way would be to have the steak.
So are you doing Cheese Whiz or provolone?
I can't stand Cheese Whiz. So I would never have that in my house.
Kathy, do you feel that strongly as you do about onions?
I'm with you. 100%.
I don't like onions very much. And so Peter loves the onions on his, but I normally don't make them that way. So unless he wants to cook it, he can do it. But I usually make them plain.
I think my family feels that way too. If I don't like it, I don't cook it, which I feel like they all feel like they get punished. But it's just,
that is exactly how it happens here. I eat practically everything, but I have a few hard no's, and my people have never had them, like beets. I won't eat them. Yeah, I won't make beets.
Mom doesn't make beets for Dad either, and that's the running joke every time he sees it on the menu. Oh, beets!
Well, enjoy. Hope they win, unless they're playing the Bears.
Well, it's baseball, so it's not football, so that's the difference here.
Oh, it's baseball. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Whoops.
So, yeah. You mean Cubs, unless they're playing the Cubs.
Cubs, yes.
Yeah,
right.
That's what you meant, yeah.
We want to thank you for listening to our podcast and letting us sisters jump into your day. Please make sure to follow, rate, and review us. We would love to have your feedback. Please also share with 3 of your favorite little fishes so we can grow. Have a wonderful weekend, sisters out.